Second item is if Missy Vera could come to the podium, our general registrar, and really heading up the entire elections and election preparedness, really as a public service message for what they are doing and what they are ready for, and have been ready for with the early voting, and what they will be ready for day of election. Ms. Vera.
Good evening and welcome.
Good evening. Thank you, Dr. Casey. Good evening, Chair Holland and members of the board. Okay, so we are in the home stretch, right? We've been voting since September 18, so we're almost there, 6 days to go. So we want everybody, obviously, to be informed and be prepared for Election Day. There are still early voting days left, but on the ballot, you're going to see your president, vice president, U.S. Senate, House of Representatives, and there is a proposed constitutional amendment. And while most people know which candidate they're going to vote for, a lot of times the proposed constitutional amendment will cause a delay because they have not previously researched or even know that there's the amendment on the ballot. So there are sample ballots that are posted on our website. They are available, paper copies are available at the General Registrar's office. There are also pamphlets about the constitutional amendment available at our office, and they'll be available at all the polling locations as well. So we always talk about the officers of election. So earlier I spoke with you all, and I wanted to assign at least 1,000 officers of election. Well, we've assigned for Election Day 1,583 officers, so there is a lot of interest in helping us and people wanting to serve in their community, so this is wonderful. I also mentioned that our goal was to have reserve officers because oftentimes on Election Day, we just have people that don't show up for various reasons. So we do have 108 people in reserve that we can call on and just say, you know, we need you to go to this precinct. So that is very exciting. So I just thank everybody for volunteering their time on Election Day. So some early voting numbers for you. Central Library has been the one open since September 18. They have voted about 69,000 people through through all of the early voting sites. But at Central Library, before the satellites were open, the 2 weeks before, they had put through 27,815. So it's incredible turnout during early voting. And thank you for relocating to Central Library. It's just much better. The parking is better. We are able to get people in and out much quicker. So thank you for that. The early voting locations have also been quite busy as people move through there. So just to give you an idea, 2020 numbers, we had about 61,000 vote during this time also. So I feel like it's trending in line with 2020 numbers right now.
Okay.
Absentee by mail. So this year we issued 27,391, and we still have about 31% outstanding waiting to come back. Now in 2020, we were in a pandemic and most people are at home, so the majority of by mail ballots were sent. That was 48,000, so that is down, but we are not in a pandemic, so everybody's going to come out and vote in person. We have 3 days remaining to vote early, and these are all the locations that people can vote at. The last day is Saturday, November 2nd, and I know that when people go to vote, they may turn away because they see a long line. So though the lines look a little bit daunting, truly the wait time is 25 minutes wait time. So we are able to get people through. The busiest locations are Central Library, North Courthouse, and Clover Hill Library. So truly, if somebody goes to North Courthouse, let's just say they see a long line, they could probably leave North Courthouse, go to LaPrade Library,
Okay.
vote, and be home before they'd make it through that line at North Courthouse. Even though the line is going fairly quickly, LaPrade is seeing a little bit lower turnout. So just to keep those things in mind. Curbside voting, just want to let everybody know that curbside voting is available at all early voting satellite locations and at all precincts on Election Day. So anyone with a temporary or physical disability, they can vote curbside. There'll be an officer of election in an orange or green vest out to help them, and they can vote curbside. And a lot of people are opting to vote curbside, which is lovely to see. And it's been nice weather, too, so our officers are glad to be outside. Time is running short to return those by-mail ballots. So by-mail ballots must be returned, postmarked on or before Election Day and delivered to our office. So 7 p.m. is the close of polls on Election Day. We can receive ballots after Election Day, but they have to be postmarked on or before Election Day, and those will be processed on Thursday or Friday after the election. If they don't want to put their ballot in the mail, that is fine. There is no need to wait in line. We do have ballot drop boxes available at all the satellite locations. They are inside the locations, but there is no need to wait in line. They just go right up, drop their ballot in the drop box, and go on about their day. If voters are waiting to vote on Election Day, that's great. All I ask is that they know their polling place on Election Day. Voters must appear at their assigned polling location where they are registered to vote. They must have an acceptable ID ready, and the polls are open 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. If they're in line at 7 p.m. and it's 7:15, they will be allowed to vote, but the polls close at 7. And then anybody can log into chesterfield.gov/registrar, and we have a polling place lookup there for them. Here is a QR code as well. So this is the messaging that's going out. If you vote on Election Day, please know your polling location before going to vote.
Great, thank you. Questions, supervisors? Any questions or comments? Mr. Ingham?
I know some of the precincts have a little bit of caveats to them, like Fallen Creek, if you voted at Fallen Creek Middle, it'll actually be at the old Fallen Creek Middle, which is the Bensley Elementary, so we don't want people to get confused there. And if you usually vote at Bensley Elementary, that's been moved over temporarily while we rebuild the school to the Bensley Community Center or to Bensley Park. So I'm not sure if there's any others, but if we could just, if there are any others that I missed, could you share those so that people may not be confused as to where to go? Because
Right,
that is a
those-
little confusing.
Those two are the going to be the most confusing. We've done a lot of polling location changes, but those two are confusing just because Falling Creek East and Falling Creek, those two precincts, are still voting at the same location they voted at in June, but the building is now home to Bensley Elementary School. So we've tried to put signs up. Ms. Schneider?
I just remember when we did the groundbreaking for the new school at Bensley, I ended up over at, Google has corrected, so I mean, at least maybe that'll be correct, because they'll take you to the new location, not the old location, so I guess that's.
Yes, so there will be signs posted at the construction site of Bensley Elementary School directing people to Bensley Community Center. We will have a VDOT sign out, and I can't remember the name of the road, but directing people to Bensley Community Center, letting them know to vote there. So we have sent voter cards. We put a little notice in the card trying to explain that, you know, Falling Creek, if you voted at Falling Creek Middle School last time, you're still voting at Falling Creek Middle School, but it is now Bensley Elementary School. We've spoken with the Bensley Elementary School principal and asked that she send out in her notification to families information about where they're going to vote. So we have tried to get the communication out there.
Thank you very much. But the location is the same.
The location is the same.
Thank
The
you very
name
much
has
for that
changed.
clarity. Dr. Miller, please.
Just a quick comment for someone who's spent a lot of time out at the polls,
Yes.
is that it's 7 o'clock sharp. 7:01 is too late. There are folks I was noticing showing up at 7:03, 7:01, and it's already too late. So folks, plan early, get there early. If you are in line, correct me if I'm wrong, then it's going to be okay.
Yes.
But you need to be in line.
You need to be in line at 7. If there is a long line and people are still coming, we will post an officer of election at the end of that line at 7 o'clock. The polls will be announced. The polls are closed. That officer will stay there in case anybody else comes, and you're right. It is strict 7 o'clock, polls close.
Absolutely. Thanks for that question and that clarity. Any other questions or comments? Any issues relative to the machinery or security? Any concerns you have that we might want to contemplate because it's really upon us next week, Election Day?
It
It's
is.
really next week.
It is, no concerns. Everything
Okay.
has been running very smoothly. We've gotten
Okay.
a lot of compliments at the early voting locations, so I have no concerns.
No concerns there as well. Also, how about the security of the ballots and everything? Those security issues with
Yeah, so
ballots, they are secured, even
are
though there's several
secured.
locations to
Yes.
manage?
They are, yes. We have a strict chain of custody policy that we follow. Election night, we have already met with Ms. Amanda Pohl and discussed. They will have their team receiving the ballots. We will have a board member also at the circuit court that evening to assist where he can. So yes, we have strict chain of custody and everything is secure.
Very good. Regarding mail-in ballots, if someone wants to bring that ballot in because they may have concerns with the post office and its history of being a little slow at times, what should they do?
They can drop it in that drop box. They can
Drop-
mark it and then
Okay.
drop it in that drop box.
Okay.
They may also relinquish that ballot to the poll book officer and then get another ballot issued and they can vote on machine. But they would need to relinquish that absentee ballot.
Thank you very much. Thanks for being here and have a great
Thank
election.
you.
Okay?
Yes, thank you so
For
much.
being out there with you.